All praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Baba Shem HaKadosh. Double honors to the Apostle Ellis and GMS that taught me this truth. Salutations to the Yakim out there pushing this truth in all sincerity, risking their lives and do so on highways and byways. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered among the four corners of the earth that believe the truth of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom. This is Romans 6 and 14, which reads, For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are under Slakia? What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Yeah, most of, our people that believe in plantation Christianity, 2/3 of the nation of Israel, you so-called Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans that believe in plantation Christianity, they believe that, the laws are done away with. They believe, who the world England calls Jesus Christ, once he came and died for his sins, the sins of, the nation of Israel, that, they believe that, the laws have been done away with. And we're no longer, to honor the laws, or we're not under the laws any longer, that we are now under grace, because of his death. But, as a nation, we have always been under grace, and, that's also, Old Testament as well as New Testament, because, they love to say that, the laws are Old Testament and, grace is, of the New Testament, So because the law is Old Testament, that we're no longer under the laws, the laws have been done away with, and, the New Testament says, we're pretty much under grace. And, but the truth is that, grace is something that we have always been under as a nation, because, grace is also in the Old Testament as well as in the New Testament, just as the laws are in the Old and the New Testament, So let's go here. This is Matthew. Hold on for a second. All right, this is Matthew 5 and 17, which reads, Think not that I am come to destroy the law of the prophets. It's like it. Think not that I have come to destroy the law of the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law to all be fulfilled. Yeah, and this is Yahweh Shah saying that he didn't come to do away with the law, but he came to fulfill the law. Which goes to show that, the laws are not done away with, because even himself, he kept the laws, and, but, just because, we're under grace doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep the laws, because the laws were set forth, for our protection, and to show our obedience into the Lord, and to differentiate, if I said that correctly, between the just people and the unrighteous people, because the laws are only given unto the nation of Israel. It wasn't given to any other nation but us, which sets us apart from, the other nations, So just, to show that, grace is also in the Old Testament, this is Genesis 6 and 7, which reads, And Yahweh said, I will destroy man who I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. You see? So if, grace is all of a sudden just popped up after the death of Yahweh Shai in the New Testament, why is it that, in Genesis, that the Lord said he's granting grace into Noah? It just goes to show that, the nation of Israel was always under grace, Grace is a gift that was given by the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, to his people, because though the Lord destroyed many others in this flood, he gave grace into Noah. Why? Because Noah was a righteous man and he kept the law, statute, and commandments as he was supposed to. As everybody else was going off. Noah was a righteous man, and for his obedience, the Lord saved him from the destruction, which shows that Noah is part of the elect. Which is going to be no different in the end. That who the Lord has chosen to save in the second coming is going to be saved, not through the laws itself, but through the grace that He has granted him. Of being part of the elect. You can't just choose to be part of the Lord's elect. The Lord has to choose you, and He's giving you grace and mercy through His gift. That's something that He just decided to give into the elect. It's nothing that they, did on their own. It's just through the grace and mercy of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that He gave it into them. But let's read on. This is Genesis 6:9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with the Most High. And Noah begot 3 sons, Sem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupt his way upon the earth. And the Most High said unto Noah, to the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Yeah, so the Lord was destroying the earth, but He was sparing Noah and his family. Let's jump down here. Let's go down to just Genesis 6:17. And behold, even I do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, whereas the breath of life from under the heaven, and even everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee, and every living thing of all flesh, and of every living thing of all flesh, two of every sort shall thou bring in the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Yeah, so the Lord allowed Noah and his family, to get on the ark, protecting them from the flood that was to come. Just like in the end, the Lord is gonna when Yahweh Shai come back for His elect, He's gonna beam them up into the chariots, and they're gonna be protected from the disasters that's gonna take place, the hellfire that He's gonna bring, the nuclear missiles that's going back and forth between these countries, and the hellfire that's gonna come down from the heavens, from the chariots of the Most High, that the Lord's gonna bring destruction upon these heathens and 2/3 of the nation of Israel. But the elect of the Lord is going to be saved. They're going to go up into the chariots, and they're going to be protected, just as the Lord protected Noah, and had him build his ark. But Noah did that through faith, because the Lord told him that it was going to rain, and then He was going to flood the earth. But nobody believed Noah, But through Noah's obedience and his faith, the Lord, gave grace and mercy unto him and saved him. Because Noah was a just man and he followed the ways of the Lord, keeping His commandments. This is Genesis 9:12, which reads, "And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh have sent us to destroy it." So this is Yahweh sending the angels to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, but the angels are sent to Lot, to protect Lot, and they're warning Lot, hey, we're going to destroy the city, but the Lord has sent us, to protect you, because Lot was one of the Lord's elect, you know. So, in the destruction, he was spared from it because he was a man, that followed the ways of the Lord, keeping the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, making him part of the elect. And the Lord was giving him grace to protect him from this destruction. We know in Genesis 19:4, and Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for Yahweh will destroy the city. But he seen as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. Said that his sons-in-law really didn't believe what Lot was saying, So the Lord left them. The sons-in-laws did, and they got destroyed in the destruction. And it's reading on. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastens Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hands of his two daughters. And Yahweh began being merciful unto them, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant have found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed me, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain lest some evil take me and I die. You see, the Lord has granted Lot grace and mercy, because of his righteousness unto him. He was given favor from the Lord, as being part of the Lord's elect, and he was spared from the destruction that was brought among Sodom and Gomorrah, which shows you that grace is something that the nation of Israel has been under. This is not something that just all of a sudden popped up in the New Testament, as plantation Christianity love to say. Like I was saying before, they love to say that, because Yahushua came and died, that we no longer have to keep the commandments and the laws and statutes that the Lord has set up before us, that, we're under the grace and mercy of Yahweh and Yahushua now. But this is something that we have always been under as a nation, but, the laws still haven't been done away with. We are still supposed to keep the laws, even though we're under grace, because the Lord shows our obedience and our love unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, That's why they were set forth. So, and it's for our own protection, so we have to follow these things. This is Romans 11:5. Even so then, at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. Yeah. So was not Abraham given grace by the Most High, and also his nephew Lot? So they're the remnant according to the election of grace. Just like, the 1/3 in 144,000, they're a remnant according to the election of grace that the Lord has just chosen to save, in the second coming, So, yes, the nation of Israel has always been under grace. This is not something that, just all of a sudden just popped up in the New Testament. This is something that has always been set forth by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and the Lord is only truly going to save his elect, from the second death that's to come. But all the nation of Israel will receive grace because, even the 2/3, they're going to be reborn in the kingdom of heaven through the 1/3 elect that make it through the first time around. You know, so grace and mercy is going to be to all the nation of Israel, but the 2/3 just not going to be saved on this end. You know, so grace is truly given into the election of the Most High. And also, with King David was, he committed sins that were worthy of death. King David committed adultery and murder, but the Lord didn't destroy him or kill him, right? Because why? Because King David is part of the elect, and through his grace and mercy, the Lord spared his life and didn't put him to death, because there was a promise that through his seed that, the Savior was going to come through the seed of David, which is Yahweh Shai, who was also Solomon, which was his son, that he had with his wife, that he actually had committed adultery with, But, the Lord spared David's life in order to keep his promise into the nation of Israel that, a Savior was going to come through his line. And, David was before, who the world was going to cross, Jesus Christ. So how all of a sudden now that, we're under grace, so what was that the Lord gave to David? It was grace, so, and, that's Old Testament, when David committed these sins, it was an Old Testament thing, but the Lord granted him grace. So this is Romans 8:29. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestine to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestine, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who could be against us? He that spared not his own Son, but delivered up for us all, he shall for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Who shall lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? It is the Most High that justified. Yeah, so the elect has already been predestined to receive grace from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. They've already been chosen, from the foundation of the world. There's nothing that the elect did, to receive the Lord's grace. It's just that the Lord has chosen them to do so, And this is Ephesians 1:4. It says, Ephesians 1:4, according as he have chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestined us into the adoption of the children by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to himself according to the goodwill pleasure of his to himself according to the good pleasure of his will, to praise of glory of his grace, wherein he hath made us accepted in the beloved, in whom we have redemption through his blood, and forgiveness of sins according to his riches of his grace. Yeah, so grace has been granted to the elect, because they were chosen from the foundation of the earth, to receive the grace of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. It's reading on, wherein he have abounded toward us in all wisdom and prudence, having made known unto us the mystery of his will according to the good pleasure which he have proposed in himself, that in disposition of the fullness of times he might gather together in one all things in Hamashiach, both which are in heaven and which are on earth, even in him, in whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. So the elect were predestined to receive it at the will of the Lord, to receive his grace. There's nothing that, the elect did, to receive the grace and mercy of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. It was a gift that was given unto them, that he just chose them from the foundation of the earth. From the beginnings, when he created the earth, the elect was chosen, to receive the mercy of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, without any works. The Lord has just, chosen them. So the elect, the Lord knowing who his elect is, those are of the elect, they're going to willingly keep the law, statute, and commandments. They're not going to go against the law, statute, and commandments. They're going to keep it to the best of their abilities. Those who wake up to the truth, knowing that, they are of the nation of Israel, and, they find out the way of the Lord, they're going to, keep the law, statute, and commandments to the best of their ability, and, they're going to follow after the Lord, and they're going to be given grace by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua in the end, for following after his ways and keeping his law, statute, and commandments to the best of their ability, because the grace has been granted unto them by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And this is Wisdom of Solomon 3:8, which reads, "They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and the Lord shall reign forever. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to the saints, and he hath care for his elect." So the grace and mercy is given to the elect, or the saints of the nation of Israel, man. And that's what it's for. Like I was saying, grace is something that we have always been under, since the beginning. It's not something that just all of a sudden just popped up in the New Testament. This is something that the nation of Israel has always been under, and in the end, only the 1/3 is going to receive the salvation of the Lord and not have to go through any, death and destruction that's going to come upon when the Lord returns, when the day of the Lord is the day of vengeance, and the Lord's going to wreak vengeance on the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, that helped put him to death, that didn't believe upon him. And he's going to give, death and destruction to the heathen nations, those that hated him, So the Lord is only going to spare the elect in that day, and, grace and mercy is given unto them. But, though that we've always been under, grace as a nation, doesn't mean that, we're not supposed to keep the law, statute, and commandments, pertaining to. That's why Paul said, because we're under grace, that doesn't mean that we're not supposed to keep the law, statute, and commandments. He said, God forbid that we're not supposed to keep those things, to keep the statutes and commandments that the Lord has, instructed us to keep as a nation of Israel, So grace is something that's always been here, that we've always been under as a nation of Israel. This is not something new that just popped up in the New Testament. So I hope the lesson has been edifying. I just want to say all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Hashem HaKadosh. Double honor to the apostle elders of GMS. Salutations to the Akim out there pushing this truth in all sincerity. Wish the lives to do so, to help gather in the elect of the nation of Israel. And salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered among the four corners of the earth that believe in the truth of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Kwam Mashirala, Abba, and Shalom.